June 28th, 2024. It's 4:53 p.m. This is documentation of what is harassment as an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. It's relevant to the enhancement to time in federal prison regarding the federal charges and sentencing of the people of the state, specifically with regard to the workplace terrorism and harassment that speaker companies, the people of the state and the state are engaging in. And so this is directly relevant to what is also federal stalking that the entity is engaging in while they are engaged in state terrorism group stalking. Okay, so this is the engineered environment. This is the third party. That is the same third party that was group stalking with Center for Better Life and TIM. This is identifying Carla Lopez, which is documentation of speaker companies. And the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct is group stalking in concert with the people. Susana Martinez drives by. The light source you can see through the rear windshield. This is captured at what is 4:50 p.m. And the entity that's engaging in surveillance, engaged in the psychotic pattern of conduct. Somebody is always ready to engage in crossing of path, in the specific environment. And you're engaging in what is also surveillance on the venue of the internet. So this is, in other words, having the target individual surrounded at all times. And it's very psychotic when you are then aware of the fact of what they're actually doing on an ongoing basis, and the fact that they do it in sync with one another, which is revealing the demon possession. That's how you have that in sync conduct and presence, and they don't have to talk in a meeting together like, okay, I'm going to be at this corner, I'm going to be at the street in case you need me to drive in, and she walks out the office from this side, and then, or she goes up to her apartment and, goes to the bathroom or something. They don't do that. This is demon possession, and they're engaging in what is crossing a path on a systematic basis, maintaining the elements of monitoring, and also engaging in the ongoing documented pattern of exhibiting demon possession by stalking in the path, the fake sun, but also engineered light, which is what Susana Martinez, license 7XVZ997, I believe that's the license plate of Susana. Nonetheless, she's documented, and her teenage daughter is also exhibited Ashley Gonzalez, a heavily documented group stalker, and she's going to be prosecuted for the adult crime of terrorism, and it's a violent sex offense, and her mother's going to federal prison for it. And Ashley Gonzalez is going to live with that criminal record. But nonetheless, the entity is crossing path. Carla Lopez is on the grounds, group stalking with, again, the people of the state, just like Center for Better Life comes onto the grounds, and Carla Lopez is group stalking in the workplace. This is Susana Martinez meeting me as I walk out. So again, her license plate is actually 7XVZ997. She is engaging in what is terrorism via directed light. This is very faint, but this is engineer light that's appearing on the wall. As I walk out, engineer light, just like Tiffany Sherez did, just like Center for Better Life did this morning. The entity is engaging in the pattern of stalking the path with engineer light while I walk out. This is a show of hostility by a bunch of demons. So they don't say anything. They keep a smile on their face. The entity will stalk by helicopters while they don't say anything and smile and say hi. This is how the passive-aggressive and psychotic demon-possessed entity, the people of the state, engage in threatening your life and also threatening you physically, engaging in the pattern of conduct through an aggressor that physically harmed you in the past. This is how the demon-possessed engage in intentional criminal conduct to monitor you. And while monitoring you, it's relevant with regard to what they've already done. For example, somebody that physically harmed you will group stalk you to communicate a threat, or the third party that you're documenting will monitor you in sync with the entity that'll fly over you and terrorize you by helicopter. This is the passive aggressive conduct, and when you're getting to the specific environment and the behavioral pattern and that which is in sync with the state, it's actually not passive aggressive at all. But I'm just speaking to the analysis of the personality, which is very highly demented. That's a psychopath that knows what they're doing and is in every regard failing, okay? Because we're getting right past that veneer, and you're looking at the character of Satan. And at this point, you're talking about enhancement. You're going to federal prison for longer and longer and longer. That's where we're at now. So Carla Lopez is engaged in group stalking here at the property, while Susana Martinez is group stalking with him and doing so in the engineered environment where you are looking at the light source that's over me at this property. You can see through the windshield. This is the environment as I walk out at 4:50 p.m. This is the light source that is indeed over at 4:50 p.m. And the entity is keeping the light source here. So this is, I just went out to get the crime scene, who's present at the crime scene, the same painters remaining on the property. They're group stalking. This is their license plate. They're going to be prosecuted for group stalking with the state and federal stalking. Nonetheless, they're acting with speaker companies who's engaged in workplace harassment and terrorism. And they're also on the venue of the internet. And so this is what I documented. I just want to show this. And they do so with simultaneity to what the entity knows I'm reviewing on the phone. So this is an entity that's engaged in group stalking. Speaker companies is going to federal prison. A third party group stalker, a demon possessed psychopath psychopath that is calling the phone, and while I'm not answering it, in other words, the entity uses it to stalk with audible activity, and this is a demon on the voicemail. While I review this voicemail, which is a form of harassment by passive aggressive psychopaths who are violent sex offenders and terrorists, the people of the state, who are going to be removed from the custody of the minor children that they are in custody of. They're going to be removed from them because that's the threat that they are. That's the reality. So this is just applying your criminal conduct, what you're doing, and so there's going to be consequences for it. Nonetheless, the entity is aware the moment that I start reviewing the voicemail that is using swearing words. I'm going to document that right now, and then I'm going to show you the specific environment, and then I'm going to show you what is relevant positioning by speaker companies where they're engaging in both group stalking, relevant position, and federal stalking on the venue of the internet. This is identifying targeting by operation of communication device to engage in the psychotic pattern of conduct. I'm going to text message you while I know you're checking the voicemail of the third party that's cussing you out. This is a psychopath. Maria Solis Alvarez is going to be subject to very severe and intense mental examinations, and then she's going to be deported after she sits in federal prison. All right, and she's going to federal prison with Heather Till, all of speaker company SoCal, Juan Carlos and Maria Hernandez are going to be deported, and this is speaking to what is very heavily relevant to the damages when I take over speaker companies, not because I want this raggedy company. I don't want it. I'm going to take it because Todd Speaker and speaker companies does not own enough to compensate me for the terrorism that they are engaging in. It's a criminal act, and I'm going to drain the pockets. So I want to be clear. This is the criminal system that's underway while they're engaging in surveillance on the venue of the internet. So you're looking at the time 448, 449, 449. This is relevant to Title 18.22618 subsections 1 and 2. This is a demon engaging in also the strategic lying in wait conduct. It also applies with regard to the operation of the communication device, with regard to knowledge of what you're doing as you're doing it. And so as I am checking the voicemail, I will review the call log so that you can see it. Let's go back to the history as I'm checking the voicemail. And I call voicemail at 448. This is what you will see at the same time. The text messages are coming on my phone. This is identifying surveillance and the demon possessed that are SoCal. Every name you see here, they're all going to federal prison. They're engaged in not only Title 18, Section 22618 criminal conduct, they do so with impunity and malice. And these are violent, they're psychopaths. Only a deranged person will continue engaging in something that's going to result in you going to federal prison. You either are not a believer of what you're being told is going to happen to you, or you do not care and you want to go for the rest of your life. It's one or the other. Both circumstances are imprudent. I just want to be clear. You don't get this far with regard to exposing what the government is doing and think that it's for funsies and that it's not actually going to happen. That's not why we are at this point in history right now. So I am dealing with delusional psychopaths who are engaging in surveillance. Speaker companies is going to be prosecuted. This is a method of harassment as an entity. While, remember, the substance of the audible activity is also relevant, and it's the absence of coincidence in the specific environment. This is relevant to the surveillance that is underway on the venue of the internet. So I'm going to review this voicemail, which is audible activity, while the entity is, again, hostile. I'm dealing with a bunch of psychopaths who are hostile because I'm documenting. So you'll have a random demon calling, cussing out on the voicemail. And it's not even, it doesn't even make sense. I'm going to delete it, but I want to make sure, in the same way that Rudy drove off of the property this morning while the entity flew over the office by helicopter, like that is removing you from, first of all, you're going to federal prison, period. Whether he came this morning or not, he's going to federal prison. Second of all, the fact that you want to engage in that, I'm going to drive off and then LAPD is going to fly over my office. Oh, that's an exception. He's not a part of that aspect of the P.O.C. There's some distinction. There's a contradiction there. He's not, let me go ahead and edit my documentation. That sort of mindset is speaking to what is, again, unapologetic, outlaw, unhinged, psychotic. All of this is relevant. It's speaking to malice and impunity.
Messages press 2.
All right, so that's relevant. So this is analogous to that conduct. I want you to listen.
I don't know what's the point of leaving a message if you're not going to answer it, or even this phone number was given to me and you're the same person that gave it to me, so this makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So, thank you either way. Fuck you. To play the last message again,
Okay, so I
press
just
1.
want to go ahead and
To
make
take
sure
the
I play
last
that
message
one
and
more
play the
time.
next message.
These demons that are, let me be clear, Satan is petty. The demon possessed are petty. It's audible activity. It's relevant positioning. A demon, a psychopath, gets gratification while the audible activity is somebody cussing me out while they're pacing all around in engineered light and the entity stalking in planes and helicopters. The demon possessed derives some sort of pleasure. That's pettiness. You're going to federal prison. You lose. I'm going to document you. I step outside and I get the light source. I'm getting you. You're going to federal prison even longer. But nonetheless, that's revealing a mind state, and that's relevant to how much damages I'm going to get because of the terrorism that's evident through the demented mind state of the group stalkers that are monitoring me in the workplace. So I just want to point out the pattern of conduct, the iteration of the P.O.C. right now, and while I'm subject to what is also relevant, the harassment as an entity that is group stalking. So let me see if I can get this again.
To play the last message again, press 1.
There you go.
Well, I don't know what's the point of leaving a message if you're not going to answer it, or even this phone number was given to me and you're the same person that gave it to me, so this makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So, thank you either way. Fuck you. To play the last message.
Okay, so
press
first of
1.
all, this is a third party. I've not given anybody any phone number lately. In addition to that, this is let me be clear, a demon-possessed group stalker in a helicopter right now, getting a number from an app, calling my phone, and you leaving the identical pattern. Leaving the identical voicemail. So it's not based on whether I gave someone a phone number or not, but I just will be clear, I did not. And in addition, I don't have any idea who this is, but we will review the caller ID, actually. Let me document that. 3:48 p.m., Julia Placencia. And this phone number this is relevant to Title 18. And you're getting a federal case, everybody that I'm documenting. 213, you can see that number. It doesn't come up very well in this video. 213. Okay, so I just want to make sure I document that because I can't really see it that well. I can see it better when I look at the phone. 213-985-8960 is Julia Placencia calling at 3:48 p.m. They're monitoring me. Rizai Ronald. Again, while I review my phone, while I take screenshots, while I document, for example, I start praying, I say the name of Jesus. The entity engages in audible activity, stalking with audible activity creation. So these are minions that are engaging in harassment by the substance of your voicemail. Yes, it's relevant to harassment as an entity, and it's also audible activity, and it's also relevant to the surveillance that the state is engaging in on the venue of the internet. This is a communication device, and it's also internet operated. In speaker companies is engaging in what is operation of communication device with simultaneity to my receiving this harassing voicemail, the substance of it. The demons get some pleasure out of engaging in their ritualistic behavior, monitoring me, and to the harassing voicemail saying F me and why don't I answer, while I walk outside and a demon crosses path and engineer light moves all across the building. Just pointing out what is the workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence as an entity that is also aware of the fact that I am documenting them. This is directly relevant to all of who are going to federal prison, not just Heather Till, not just the corporate office for speaker companies that's in Palo Alto, but everybody working with SoCal Speaker Companies Incorporated. And it is Carla Lopez, Juan Carlos, Maria Hernandez, Maria Solis Alvarez, and Selena Robledo. They're all going to federal prison, and Carla Lopez is present in relevant position, group stalking, while also waiting until the moment I check my voicemail. If I happen to check my voicemail, ooh, she's checking the voicemail, let me pace around and send text messages. That's what the entity is doing. So this is P.O.C. and not only am I going to show you the light source that is in this position at this point in the day, I'm going to remind you about the same exact position of this light source as I documented it earlier today, which is speaking to, again, the malice and the petty and self-defeating conduct of a demon-possessed entity who really needs to repent and ask for forgiveness. You need to ask the Lord Jesus to forgive you, and you need deliverance seriously, because you are at a point now where you have ruined your entire life. And you are continuing down a road that's going to lead to death if you do not turn and repent. You are going to lose. I'm going to prosecute you in the natural, and there is a spiritual consequence regarding who it is that you're serving right now, and it has resulted in the destruction of your own life. So this is the entity that is keeping a fake sun over me. All right, and this is what you saw while I was standing. This is the light source that's over building. And you clearly see through the windshield of Susanna Martinez, who's group stalking. Engineer light moves across the building while she's crossing path. And this is the light source that's directly above the apartment building. That's why you're seeing the reflection of the light source right above his car. Non-movement of the fake sun. What is the fake sun doing? Remember, it's moving from one side of my person to the other while I stay at one address all day long. And this is the evidence of it. And this is the light source that's directly over the apartment building, over the top of my head. It's still over the same apartment building in alignment to me, going toward my face. This is what I'm stating. Rising on the left side of my person, setting on the right side of my person. A general reference to the east and the west as I stay at the Alvarado Gardens apartments. This is what is relevant with regard to the self-defeating conduct of a demon-possessed entity that is woefully unprepared for its exposure, not just with regard to my documentation. This is going out to the nations, to the multitudes. Everyone's going to know not only the fact that you're demon-possessed, but all the ways in which you have been defeated while under that condition, which it is inevitable. Satan never prevails, ever. Okay? So this is relevant to what they are doing as they are doing it on my communication device. It's not the substance of their text messages. It is relevant with if they say "F you, Erica," you are a whatever, like the substance of this voicemail. Let me be clear. Legally speaking, it can come out of the mouth of Maria Solis Alvarez because it's the same entity. But nonetheless, you have a third party. I'm not even aware of who it is. The substance of that audible activity and the simultaneity with which the entity are engaging and monitoring. Carlo is here, pacing all around me. Fake sun, engineer light moving across the building. All manner of hostility being expressed to the environment, and they're doing it while the demons are aware of everything that I've documented. And I just want to show you what I'm documenting over my head at the same apartment building where you see this light source at what is 4:50. Okay, so hours earlier when I'm in this parking lot at approximately 1:50, 3 hours ago, and it's at the same location. And remember, it stays here. That's how I'm able to capture it in alignment to me, which is exactly what this is, stalking with the fake sun. This is engineer light, not sunlight. That's on the vehicle adjacent to Carlo Lopez's vehicle. That's not sunlight, and it's also not the sun that will be at the same position over the same apartment building at the top of my head, which is what I documented. And also what I documented in the depths of this hallway is evidence against all of the people of the state who call this office phone and engage in what is harassment. It's serving no purpose. It's hurting everyone. There is no anonymity with group stalking. Everybody here is going to federal prison. So you are engaged in an ongoing loss. An ongoing loss. You're losing your kids. You're losing your freedom. You're losing your job. Well, okay, so I just want to say, and if you're not even a natural birth, you're losing your citizenship in this country. You're losing everything. Okay, so this is the entity. This is what they do. I'm just documenting it, and this is speaking to what is relevant for purposes of workplace and harassment. This is engineer light that's in the hallway while my shadow is enlarged, and that's the fake sun over the top of my head. And you can clearly see that it is indeed the same apartment building. It is apartment building 1800. This is the apartment building where the fake sun is over the same apartment building 1800. Okay, that's a scientific impossibility, and it's also the absence of any anonymity, speaking to the intent with which you are engaging in the operation of communication devices, where I am subject to ongoing surveillance, knowledge of the fact that a harassing voicemail is on my phone and I'm checking it, which is also audible activity, and the demons begin sending text messages in order to engage in both monitoring me, and this is also the passive aggressive, the psychotic conduct of those. I'm text messaging you, I'm monitoring you while you're listening. That's the mindset of a bunch of passive aggressive demons. Okay, that passive aggressive behavior, which is again, when you analyze it, it's not passive aggressive at all. But I'm pointing out, how does the system work? What's the people of the state's role? It's prosecution relevant for what is the psychological torture and torment that the ordinary target individual has a right to not be subject to while you're surrounded by a bunch of demons who are mentally deranged. Okay, that is the self-destructive conduct that the entity continuously engages in, and Carlo Lopez is exhibiting impunity in the same way that speaker companies are exhibiting impunity. And the entity does this on an ongoing basis. Like I said before, Heather Till is indeed going to federal prison for the malice exhibited by speaker companies, threatening my life and threatening my livelihood while I am both in a situation relying, this is the ordinary target individual, you're relying on your job, you need it, okay? Especially in this economy, people are one job away from homelessness, and yet you're terrorizing me, and I'm supposed to forfeit my rights, my human and constitutional rights, while you violate my existence as a person. Okay. This is psychotic. You're going to federal prison for that because the government doesn't have a right to do it through the people who are monitoring you and group stalking you. It is currently 5:13 p.m. and let's wrap this video up with the maintenance of the light source. It's over building 1802, not building 1800. Okay, stalking with the fake sun. This is P.O.C.